Hello. Hi, a very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for joining us for the the Temasek Polytechnic School of Applied Science, the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science virtual open house webinar. So my name is Maisha and I'm the course chair for the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science, and I will be hosting the webinar today. So the title of our webinar is Improving Lives Through the Knowledge of Medicines, and we hope to share with you through this webinar how you can make a difference with the knowledge and skills that you picked up in this course and make meaningful contribution to the healthcare and the pharmaceutical manufacturing industry. At any point of the webinar, you may post your questions on the Pigeonhole, okay, by scanning the QR code that is shown on the screen now. Okay, so we'll be having a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So do post your questions so we can answer them at the end of the webinar. Yeah. So I also have with me today Lavi, our current year 3 Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science student who is in her final semester of study, and she's currently doing her internship in the pharmaceutical industry. Hello, Lavi.
Hi, Dr. Maisha.
Hi. Would you like to do a brief introduction of yourself?
Hi, my name is Lavi, and currently I'm studying CP's PHS, Pharmaceutical Science course. And I'm doing my third year, my final year in this course. And like Dr. Maisha said, right now I'm interning at Pfizer, and I'm actually at work on site right now.
Thank you so much, Lavi, for taking time, during your internship to attend this webinar. So let's have a chit chat. So let's start off maybe to ask Lavi. I'm sure many people watching the webinar may be wondering, like this is the time where they need to choose their course. So why did you choose the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science?
There's two main reasons why I chose this course. So the first reason was because I like science. I'm very interested in science. I love biology. I love chemistry. That was what I took in O levels. That was what I took in secondary school. And throughout 4 years, I really enjoyed studying. I wasn't particularly good at it, but I really enjoyed studying the two subjects. So I think there's this misconception that you have to be like really good at these two subjects in order to join PHS or any science course in general. But I wasn't really good at it, but I think I still put through. Yeah, so basically that was one reason. So I love biology, I love chemistry, and I think like a very happy middle would be PHS, Pharmaceutical Science. Yeah. So the second reason is because I've always wanted to work in the healthcare sector. So I've looked at jobs like doctor, nurses, and I decided that the path that I wanted to choose was to become a pharmacist. That was what I'm drawn to pharmacy. Yeah. So that's the two main reasons why I joined Pharmaceutical Science.
Thank you so much for sharing this. I think one of the key points you mentioned is I think having passion for the subjects. Like you mentioned, I think about biology and chemistry, and I think that's definitely important because if you're very passionate about something, that motivates you to do well. And then on that point, I also want to add on, because a lot of people may ask, whether biology, do I need to take biology in order to do the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science? So I think like Lavi, you have taken biology, but there are actually quite a number of students, I would say, that have joined the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science without taking biology in the secondary school. So I think in our curriculum in year 1, we do cover the some fundamental subjects such as human anatomy and physiology, or even and also cell biology. So that helps to build the foundation before moving on to the more specialized subjects in the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science. Yeah, so I thought thank you so much for sharing that, Lavi. Yeah. And then I think another point you mentioned is passion for the healthcare, to join the healthcare industry. So I think later as we talk about, we talk more, we'll probably hear more from Lavi as well. Yeah. So maybe, Lavi, can you also share what are some of the core skill sets that you have picked up in the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science course?
So I think there's two main categories. So there's one is like more on the academic, like the technical knowledge, and then there's the other one is like the technical skills, like the practical skills. So in terms of knowledge, of course there'll be a lot of subjects along the way that will help you out, no matter which sector you want to be in. Do you want to maybe go into like the clinical setting, or do you want to maybe go into like the industry, like the manufacturing of the drug? I think for me, I was very unsure, but I think all the subjects that were taught during the course give me a better idea of what I wanted to do. And right now I'm obviously in Pfizer, so I'm in the industry. So even though yes, right now I'm in the industry, right? But I've also picked up on like clinical knowledge. So if that's what I choose to do after poly, that's where I can go also. So in terms of like the technical knowledge, I feel we have subjects like pharmaceutical analysis. We have subjects like pharmaceutical manufacturing technology. We have microbiology, pharmaceutical microbiology. So all this, I think they help to build quite a strong foundation for you, no matter which path you choose after poly. Yeah. So then next, in terms of like the technical skills, like the practical skills, we have labs, we have practicals quite often, and during this, I think we managed to cover quite a lot of technical skills, and we had quite a lot of practice because during lab, sometimes it's like, wow, 3 hours lab, very very tiring. Why so long the lab, right? But once I come into work, I really appreciate. I gain a really deep appreciation for it because when my supervisor asked me to, like, for example, perform a certain procedure, I'm able to do so confidently. And I think it was because of subjects like I mentioned just now, pharmaceutical analysis, like all the experiments that we did during that subject, during the practical lesson, that really helped me clock my hours with practice and also gain the confidence to do it at work.
Thank you so much, Olivia. I think we have touched on a few things. So I'm actually very glad to hear that all the lab practical sessions actually have paid off. Okay, so I think good to hear that because of the practices that you have in during the course, the 3 years in the course, you actually feel more confident performing the task that you are doing now in your internship company. Yeah. So you touch on the practical, like more like I would say wet lab kind of training, but can you also share a little bit more what other different modes of learning that you get to experience in the course, which is maybe a little bit different from what you experience in the secondary school?
So in secondary school, it was mainly the teacher stands in front of the class, teach you like the content that you need to study for O-level specifically. But in poly, it's especially in pharmaceutical science, it's a little bit different. So we have, if you choose to go down a clinical route in the future, right, you have to speak to patients. So we have communication subjects to teach you how to speak confidently and articulate and be able to express yourself well and correctly. Yeah, because I think when you are dispensing drugs to someone, I think it's very important that you say the correct information and say what you actually want to say. And so we have things like role play, introduction to IPP. Sorry, I need help. IPP.
Practice. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so during that subject, we had an assessment. So it was a role play assessment, and I think that was quite memorable for me because like the lecturer, the tutor, like she was role playing as like the patient. So I was the pharmacy technician. So I think that was very memorable and it was very helpful in like practicing how to speak to patients, how to what to say to the patient. And I think for all those students that ended up interning at the pharmacy, I think that was quite useful and really, really important for them. Like you really have to have that practice first before actually talking to a real patient in a real pharmacy. Yeah, so I think that's just one of like the many, many different modes of learning we have besides just lectures, practical, tutorials. Yeah.
Yeah, so like what Lovey has pointed out, I mean there are lectures, there are tutorials, practicals, and also I think what is one very important mode of learning in the diploma in pharmaceutical science is definitely the role playing, because like what Levi has mentioned, our students, they need to, go out into work in the pharmacy as pharmacy technician, and that involves a lot of patient interaction. And definitely interacting with a patient is different from, communicating with, other people. Yeah, so students will get to practice through role play. That is definitely to help them to build confidence and also, build on their communication skills. Yeah. So before we continue our chit chat with Levi, right now I'd like to play a video so that to share more about the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science course. So this video is prepared by our very own students. So please enjoy the video.
Welcome to Temasek Polytechnic's Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science, which will introduce the key modules in this course. In the first year, delve into foundation subjects such as human anatomy and physiology, as well as basic pathology and immunology, through which you will learn about the relationship between diseases and the human body. We shall also focus on a knowledge of chemistry, as it is essential in drug development and analysis. In the second year, you will learn the key principles of drug action and acquire clinical drug knowledge, become well equipped with patient counseling skills to be a pharmacy technician, and master the ways of how pharmaceutical products are analyzed and manufactured. In the third year, choose either pharmacy practice or pharmaceutical and biologics manufacturing for your elective cluster. Then experience work-based training in these areas and apply relevant skills during the 6-month internship program. These are some of the modules that we learn in PHS in a minute. Interested to find out more? Head to our TP website for more information.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a very brief video, but let me just summarize some of the key points that was captured in the video. So the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science course is a broad-based curriculum that encompasses the pharmacy practice, pharmaceutical manufacturing, and also pharmaceutical analysis. So in this course, students will learn how medicines are being used to treat the different disease conditions, and also how medicines are being manufactured and also analyzed to ensure their safety and also their quality before they are being, they reach the patients and the consumers. So the knowledge and skills that are learned in the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science course will enable our students to take up a meaningful career as pharmacy technicians in the healthcare sector, as well as to take on various job roles in the pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical industry, such as in quality control, quality assurance, and also the drug manufacturing process. So our broad-based training will equip our students with the in-demand transferable skills that will allow them to enjoy career opportunities in a diverse range of allied health professions, as well as careers beyond the pharmaceutical science industry. Okay, so I hope you have a better understanding of the course. So to find out more about our diploma, please visit our virtual open house microsite. And from there, you can also click on a link to talk to our staff. So today and tomorrow, open house is still on. So do visit our microsite to find out more about the course. All right. So now let's continue our chat with Levi. So Levi just now, she already mentioned that she's currently doing her internship in Pfizer. So perhaps Levi would like to do share with us more about what you are doing currently in Pfizer.
All right, so let me introduce myself again. I'm Levi, and I'm a final year student in the Diploma Pharmaceutical Science. So in our final year, all of us will go for internship, and mine is in Pfizer, which is a pharmaceutical company. So let me just share a little bit about this company. So the mission statement is like at the core of the work that we do here at Pfizer. So breakthroughs that change patients' lives. I think that sounds really similar to the title of this entire presentation. So I think as students, when you are choosing a diploma course, you will be choosing something that is very close to your heart. And something that's close to my heart is healthcare. I think anyone that chooses to be in healthcare, you have to come in with the right intention. And I think you want to change lives, you want to help people. And so Pfizer is very committed to making contributions to improving healthcare all around the world. And we are using science to create breakthroughs, create new medicines that can help to save patients' lives. Improve patients' outcome means increase lifespan and also strengthen health systems around the world. So this company is more than 150 years old. and right now it's headquartered in New York City, USA. It operates in more than 180 countries, and that's including Singapore. And it's known for a number of drug brands like Xanax, which is a drug used to treat anxiety disorders, EpiPen, which is like a life-saving medicine used by patients who have severe allergic reactions, Zithromax, an antibiotic, and Advil, which is a very widely known painkiller. But I think recently the reason that you know of Pfizer or you have heard of Pfizer is in the news because Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 mRNA vaccine was recently approved by the US FDA on 11th December, and then subsequently by Singapore HSA on the 14th of December. So, so this is why I think you will have heard of the word Pfizer. So, next slide, please. Okay, so this where I'm interning is at all the way at the other end of Singapore in Tuas. It's where the Pfizer Global Supply site is. This site's main purpose is for the manufacture of active pharmaceutical ingredients. Okay, so here we receive raw materials from other sites and sources, and then we process them into the crude drug substance, which is what we call the API. And from here, we will then send this API to other Pfizer processing plants all around the world, and then they would do the processing, like tableting and packaging to produce like the final drug form of the tablets that you see at the pharmacy. This Tuas site has been here in Singapore since 2003, and currently I'm one of the 400 or so employees working here. Next slide, please. So my role as an intern is a laboratory assistant. I work in a lab, and more specifically, it's called the Process Development Lab. So process development refers to the establishment, implementation, or improvement of a pre-existing manufacturing process. So the team here will be responsible for troubleshooting issues that occur during production. For example, if a batch of drugs produced are found to contain higher than normal amounts of impurities. So this team is very important to the work at Pfizer because the drugs that patients take, we want them to be of good quality, we want them to be safe, and we want them to be effective. So the work that the team does here ensures that the batches that we are producing does not have a high impurity level. And so it's the job of the PD team, okay, to find out what's wrong in the process, what went wrong during the production process. Maybe the temperature of the batch was too high. Maybe one of the raw materials used in the process was problematic. So this team is made up of scientists, technicians, chemists, and they will recreate like smaller scale experiments of the production in the lab to pinpoint the exact cause of all these kind of problems. So some of these methods, because some of these drugs, they are decades old. So the team is always trying to find new ways to make the process better and to, for example, improve on the quality of the drug. So my job as a lab assistant is currently to prepare the chemicals that is used in lab, conduct tests called compatibility studies. I'm also helping to support the plant investigation, means I'm helping with the scientists and the chemists and the analysts with their jobs. And as mentioned earlier also, I'm executing organic reactions, which I will be elaborating on later. And my day-to-day work consists of maintaining the lab and assisting the chemists and the scientists in their experiments. Next slide, please. So one of the key highlights of my internship so far had been my major project, which is interlinked with my role in the company. So in the previous slides, I mentioned that one of my roles was to execute organic reactions. So in other words, I will help to do experiments and I will help to create synthesize a certain chemical. Okay, and this chemical that I'm currently creating is an impurity. So this information is going to be very helpful for future investigation purposes to help with like future identification of this impurity in the actual drug itself. So from the original raw materials, as you can see on the pictures on the screen, okay, so the raw materials was actually a white powder, and then the two bottles that you see there is like the intermediate, it's like the middle of the process. And then in the end, it becomes a white color powder, which is this is actually like the drug, the impurity that is found in the drug itself. So subsequently, I will conduct tests and a series of analysis on this product, and then the information, like I said earlier, would be helpful for future productions of this drug. Yeah. So throughout this entire process that I was doing my major project, I realized that a lot of the procedures a lot of the methods that I've used, I've actually practiced it extensively in school. So when I came to do my major project, I need to have a period of training, and my supervisors will have to supervise me and ensure that I'm doing the right thing. And of course, I learned a lot of new things here at Pfizer. But at the same time, I feel I had a very solid foundation to work off of. Next slide, please. So I've come to the end of this short presentation that I have about my internship, and I'm 14 weeks into my 26-week-long internship. And I feel like I've already learned so much from this, from the work, my colleagues, and the company. And I've gotten many chances to apply what I've learned in school and practice in pharmaceutical science, the course, something which always feels very rewarding and satisfying to do when you get to execute what you've learned. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Levi. I think that's for sharing this very exciting internship at your current company. Yeah, and also I'm happy to know that you mentioned that a lot of the things that you're currently doing you get to practice them in school and to apply them in a real world setting, and also I think what you are doing now, it's actually making a real contribution to patients' lives. Yeah, perhaps maybe you can also touch on a little bit more. How do you think the diploma has prepared you for your internship?
So, like I mentioned earlier, so there was all the lab work, there was all the technical knowledge, and I also briefly mentioned something about communication subject, right? But so one aspect of this umbrella of communication subject that we had was career communication. So during the interview process, how to answer those interview questions, how to present yourself, how to carry yourself, and even things like your resume, how you should organize the best resume to present to your employer, how to be an effective member of the team. These are some like soft skills that we learn not only throughout this communication subject, but throughout the entire 2 years in poly. We are always put in project work. We are always pushed to work with others, to lead teams. So during this process, you learn how to be a team player. You learn how to be responsible. I think there's also a lot of interpersonal skills that was learned through all this project work. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Levi. I think what I want to also highlight here is that in the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science, in fact, in all the diplomas in Temasek Polytechnic, we have a series of subjects which we call the TP fundamentals. And these are subjects which are really, there to help students to develop their soft skills. I think Levi has mentioned communication skills. We have subjects that include, entrepreneurship, innovation, so all this, the purpose of all these TP fundamental subjects is to, develop our students' soft skills so as to prepare them for the workforce. Yeah, so I think we all know that besides technical competency, employers are also looking out for, all these soft skills like, teamwork, problem-solving skills, digitalization skills, etc. Yeah, so maybe another question I want to ask, because you shared a little bit about your major project. So this is also something that all our students during the internship, they also have to work on a major project. So how would you could you maybe share a little bit about your experience working on this major project?
Okay. So let's talk about pre major project. I think it was quite a daunting task. It was very new to all of us. At the same time, it's not new, but because like wow, we are working solo this time. Before that, all projects of this scale are like done in groups. So like we had people to consult, and we had people to discuss and work with. But this one you're doing it individually. So all the skills that you learn throughout the 3 years, like for example, report writing. When you're writing in academic papers, you have to write a certain way. So you have to have a certain language, use a certain so certain language. So that language has to be practiced extensively as well. And I think all this was very daunting to us because all of us, I don't think we have ever just dived straight into a project like without the teachers guiding us along the whole way, the lecturers guiding us along the whole way. So this was quite scary. But then once I actually stepped into the company and discussed with my supervisor and also my liaison officer, which is a lecturer in TP, it wasn't that scary. I feel very supported. Like I had two very good mentors with me the whole way to walk me through, and not spoon feed because there's a very big difference. They were there to guide me through the process, just to nudge me in the correct direction. And I found myself being able to independently do the project. Yeah. So when it comes to adapting the method, the experimental method from an old method, when it comes to writing up the reports, I think I was able to do that independently, which surprised me because I thought that I would not be able to do it. But I think the 3 years prepared me well. So currently, I'm not complete with the project yet, of course, but the experience so far has been very satisfying. Thank you. Over to you.
That's very good to hear. I think throughout the 3 years, I think Lovey, you mentioned that there's a lot of opportunities to work on project. A lot of times students work in group. So when students go out for the internship where they work on a major project, it's an individual project, and that's where they really worked on a real life problem, an industry problem. So definitely a lot of opportunities for them to apply what they learned in their 3 years and also to apply their problem solving skills, in this major project. Yeah, it's definitely something that I would say is very rewarding. At the end of the 3 years, you completed, a project on your own, of course, with guidance from the supervisors and also the LO in the school. All right. So maybe let us now look at some of the questions. I believe there are some questions which are already posted on the Pigeonhole. Okay. So we'll try to answer most of the questions. So in this question, can I mix and match the modules from both specializations, the industry and the clinical specialization, and how to decide which one suits me? Earlier I did share in the video, you also would have seen that there is actually two specializations, the pharmacy practice elective cluster and also the pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical manufacturing elective cluster. So students will choose that at the end of year 2, and they will do their specialization in year 3. You can't mix and match the module because the elective clusters serve to deepen students' knowledge in a particular sector, and it is also tied to the internship. So students who choose the pharmacy practice elective cluster will have to do the 2 pharmacy practice subjects, so that's to prepare them for the internship in the 3 point, the last semester. Yeah. So the answer is you can't mix and match. How do I decide then which one is suitable for me? So in the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science course in year 1 and year 2, students will be exposed to both subjects from both the clinical subjects as well as subjects such as pharmaceutical analysis, pharmaceutical manufacturing technology. So they get to have a taste of both types of subjects. So in year 1 and year 2, that will actually help students to decide, do they actually prefer something that is more clinical? Do they actually enjoy the role playing? Do they want to, further deepen their knowledge in the clinical aspect? Then they can choose the pharmacy practice specialization. But we also have students who said that, I prefer to work in a lab. I prefer to, to say work in a manufacturing plant. Then they can choose, the manufacturing elective cluster. So year 1 and year 2 will help students to decide. I also like to add on, prior to the selection of the elective clusters, the diploma also organizes career talks where we invite our industry partners to share with our students more about both sectors, and that will also help our students to make a decision as to which specialization to choose. Yeah, so I hope I answered that question. Can we look at the next question? In pharmaceutical science, will I get a chance to make medicines? Maybe, Lovey, you would like to answer this question?
The short answer is, okay, I would say maybe, like sometimes, because so we have lab sessions, right, like I mentioned earlier, and we have a subject called pharmaceutical manufacturing technology, and during those lab sessions, we actually got a chance to make a few different kinds of like drug substances. I won't say drugs, I would say the medicine itself, but we got a chance to see how tableting works. We got a chance to see how suppositories are made. We get to actually work on them. We did like some of like the processes of making the medicine itself. For example, like the granulation, the drying, the filtering. You won't have the chance to play with the big reactors, but when it comes to like the processes and the individual unit operation, yes, of course you get a chance to be exposed to that. And yeah, it's enough for the depth and breadth covered during this manufacturing subject. I think it's very adequate for me personally to get an idea of how drugs are made, like the processes of making them, and whether or not I enjoy the it's very weird to say I enjoy the process of making drugs. But yeah, whether or not I will be suitable for going into the manufacturing industry in future, I think these subjects really give me like an idea of whether or not it is for this manufacturing route is for me.
So actually, to add on, so Lovey mentioned about the pharmaceutical manufacturing technology. So in this subject, students actually do get the opportunities to learn how to make the different dosage forms. Of course, students who choose the elective cluster in the pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical manufacturing, they will further deepen their knowledge in the area, and that's where they learned about the pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical processing. So they will learn more, and definitely when they go out for the internship, usually they will be posted to the pharmaceutical companies where they may be involved in the production of the pharmaceuticals and biopharmaceuticals. Right? Maybe we can look at another question. Will I be competitive for postgraduate training position? I'm not very sure this question is, it's that because we are talking about diploma. So a postgraduate sounds like it's graduate after after a degree program. But I suppose if I were to rephrase this question, is it competitive for internship placement? So internship, it is the responsibility of the school to internship is an essential component of the 3-year course. So all students will have to go out to do their enhanced internship. In the in the very last year, in 3rd year. So students, we have what we call the internship coordinator that will help to place our students for to find their placements in the industry or in the hospitals and the retail pharmacy. So I would say we will make sure every student will get a placement, but students also have to play a part because they do have to go for interviews in order to secure the internship placement. So I would say there may be some competition because a company may offer only like 3 placements, and we have to send our students out to go for the interview. So maybe we send 5 and 3 of them will get the placement, but if the students don't get the placement, we will then try to find another placement for them. So eventually is to send all our students out for the internship. Yep. Okay, so perhaps we have time for one last question. So that's the student required to find a company to do their internship. So I think this is also in a way related to the earlier question. So students, they can take the initiative to self-source internship placement, and we encourage students to do that. I think that it's there's accountability. Okay, but we do have a internship coordinator in the diploma course to help students to secure their internship placement. But again, like I say, we send our students out, we arrange for the interviews, but students still have to make sure that they prepare themselves for the interview, and whether or not they get the placement really actually will depend on the students. And I think Lovey shared just now, there are modules in school that will help students to prepare them on resume writing, cover letter writing, or interview skills. So at least the school, this is what the school will can do to prepare our students for their internship. Yep. So I think we are at the end of our webinar. So sorry we couldn't answer all your questions, but do visit our microsite, and also do join the e-consultation to talk to our staff if you have any questions. JAE will be happening next week, so do look out for the TP website to make an appointment to speak to our staff for counselling on which course, whether the course is suitable for you or not. All right, so I would like to thank Lovey once again for joining me for this webinar, and also like to thank everybody for taking time to attend this webinar, and I hope you now have a better understanding of the Diploma in Pharmaceutical Science course. Okay, so perhaps there's a QR code which you can scan, which will bring you to our open house microsite, and yeah, so that's the end of the webinar. I hope we look forward to meeting you, all of you in TP, in the coming new semester in April. Thank you so much.